This quick start video is just going to show you where all the extra settings are if you are bouncing something other than WAV or AIFF. So on the right is an additional settings panel, and you can see video settings, Atmos settings, bounce MP3 settings, and export MP3 settings. Rather than what Pro Tools does, which is just open up another panel and make the bounce window bigger, or in the case of MP3s, to show you a second dialog after you hit bounce, I've just moved all of the extra settings into their own dialogs that will come up. So if, let's say, you want to bounce to a movie, as soon as you select movie, you'll be presented with the video options, and these are exactly the same options you would have if you were bouncing in Pro Tools. Same with Atmos, though what you'll see here is that you have everything here except for the list of re-renders. The first time you call up this dialog, you'll see another dialog on top that tells you to go into the bounce dialog in your Pro Tools session and set up the re-renders that you want. It would be very complicated for me to try and recreate that, but you can set it up in Pro Tools in the session, and then this will in fact bounce all of the re-renders if you check Create Re-renders. And for MP3s, you can have an bounce MP3 and an export MP3, and so I'm having those settings separate. Now, why you might want two MP3s, I'm not really sure, but let's say you're bouncing to a wave and you want to add MP3. Here is the MP3 dialog for the bounce MP3. And I do just want to show you one thing which makes the pop-up dialog searches so much more powerful in SoundFlow and in this app than in Pro Tools. Let's say you wanted to set this to booty bass, which you would. You've got to scroll through this alphabetical list and find booty bass. But if you know that you want booty bass, you're done. So that's pretty awesome. Then what you could do if you wanted to have a second MP3 is if you're importing, you can then export, and we can choose to export as an MP3. And now that is a separate dialog. So I'm going to say that it's ambient here. Maybe you want to have two different quality MP3s. I don't know. But the point is that these settings are indeed separate. So you got your booty bass bounce and you've got your ambient export. And that's it. When you first select the file type, you will be presented with the dialog. And then after that, you can go back and forth and do whatever. And then those settings will be used when you bounce that alternate file type.